Everybody, we're going to go over how multifamily syndicators generate revenue. So let's get started. First is the acquisition fee. So this ranges from typically 0.5 to 3%. It is based on the purchase price of the property plus any CapEx budget. So if you're buying an apartment complex for $10 million and there's a $2 million CapEx budget, meaning a renovation budget, basically, that means this percentage gets applied to the full $12 million. This gets paid to the general partners that are sponsoring the deal, and it gets paid out at closing. Really, the purpose of this is to identify, analyze, and secure the property itself and put the deal together. And in practical terms, this is really sort of the operating budget of the general partnership and kind of what keeps the lights on, as they say. The next is the asset management fee. This will be from 0.25% to up to 5%, depending on the complexity of the project on the property. And that percentage is applied to the income on a monthly basis. So collect all the rents, collect any other fees, laundry, parking, etc. Maybe there's some storage units. And then this percentage gets applied to that, and it gets paid on a monthly basis to the general partnership. Next is construction management. So this is usually like a project management type of a fee. If there's a really extensive renovation plan that's going to, last over 2 years, let's say, then there's usually going to be a specific project manager associated with that, and then they'll get compensated through this fee. Often 5 to 10% is the range. I've seen it go lower than that. I've never seen it go higher. There have been people that have had higher budgets, but typically that's not the case. And this percentage is only applied to the CapEx budget itself. So in my previous example, if you had a $2 million renovation budget, then that 5%, let's say, would get applied to that over that entire time period. Property management is what that says there. This really is collected if there's vertical integration at the company. So if you also have a property management company within your investment group, usually it's a separate LLC, but in any case, it still gets collected 3 to 10%. Mostly it's going to be on that lower end on larger properties. 10% really just applies for like if you have single family homes or a duplex, that kind of thing, but we're not really talking about that here. So 3%, maybe even lower, actually, you might see. Now, remember that in the case of a larger property, like 200 units, you might have this 3% property management fee, but you're also going to have payroll for on-site staff, like a full-time maintenance person, possibly two, and a full-time, leasing office manager or support there. So there is other expenses associated with property management from just a pure fee standpoint. That's what you'll see there. Refinance and disposition fees. So oftentimes, if you're buying a property, you'll have perhaps like a bridge loan while you're undergoing some construction and renovation work. That bridge loan usually be a higher rate, and so you'll refinance after the property's been stabilized into lower rate fixed debt. And oftentimes there's a lot of work that's involved with that, and so there's a fee. Typically, again, on the lower end of this range, but that is the range possibly. And that gets paid out at the refinancing, and it's just based on the loan amount. The other is a disposition fee. So that's when the property is actually sold, getting the property ready to sell, et cetera, doing all that work. Then there might be a fee there, typically on the lower end of this, 1-2%, and it's based on the total sale price. And that's paid out at closing. Capital event split. So this is where the majority of your return as a general partner is going to come from. And I guess, and it's also dependent on how well you do in terms of managing your project and adding value to it. So, it's anywhere from 10 to 40% of the profits. So depending on how you split it up with your limited partners, with your capital, 90-10, 80-20, 70-30, those are all typical splits. And really, this is driven by your investor return. So when you're modeling out your deal, you're going to want to look at these numbers and shift this so that you get projected pro forma return that's going to be attractive enough to your potential limited partners that they'll want to invest in the deal with you. You could make it, oh yeah, 60-40, but you might press down on the limited partner returns where nobody's going to want to actually invest in your deal. So you need to be aware of that and make sure it's attractive enough. On the flip side, though, you don't want to make it look so attractive that it almost seems absurd and too good to be true. I mean, I've seen it where you put in numbers at, a 90-10 split, and the projected returns to your limited partners like 35%. And it's just like, okay, well, some people will be like, that doesn't make sense to me. So you want to look at that too, and maybe make it 80-20, so it's or 70-30, so it's a little more reasonable. It's it sounds kind of counterintuitive when you say it out loud, but that's the reality, is that some people will steer away if it looks too good. So overall, just thinking about this broadly speaking, there's a lot of different revenue streams in here that flow to the general partners. You don't want to add every single one of these fees if all of these pieces are going to be part of your project, because also you can compress your limited partner return so much and kill them with so many fees that also the returns are going to be very attractive. So keep that in mind, and keep in mind just what's going on in the market overall. If all of a sudden everybody's charging a 1% acquisition fee, you don't want to be the one person at 4% and kind of just be out of touch with what's happening out there. So just keep in mind that. Make sure you're talking to other operators and your network to see what is the general consensus of what people are putting together on deals. And that's sometimes the easiest way to just use a roadmap as far as how you put this all together. So that's it for this little video. Hope you found it valuable. Make sure that you like, comment, do all the things you're supposed to do on these, and we'll be posting another soon. Thanks.